Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. I hope all of you are doing well, staying safe and happy. Today I'm going to plant 2 peonies in my home garden. One an Ito hybrid peony variety and a herbaceous peony variety as well. And I want to take you guys on this journey with me today. So for those of you looking for that online gardening channel, which offers tips, tricks, easy, yet proven gardening advice to take your home garden to the next level, don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around with me today. Start with going below this video and clicking the subscribe button if you are enjoying the content of my videos. If you find my videos to be useful, helpful, informative in absolutely any way, click the bell icon as well so YouTube can send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new garden video. Now come with me, let's get these babies planted and let's get gardening. This video is all about planting peonies in the spring. In today's video, we're going to cover how to correctly plant a peony plant in your home garden, how to care and maintain your peony plants, and of course all the growing and harvesting instructions as well. Peonies have been cultivated and grown for hundreds of years. There are so many gorgeous, beautiful, fragrant varieties of peonies available all around the world. Peonies are sold either in the form of a bare root, a pre-sprouted bare root, which you could see right over here, or a established, mature, potted up peony plants. Early in the spring, you are more likely to find either a bare root or a pre-sprouted peony bare roots. Later on, late spring or even early summer, you are most of the time going to start seeing established, mature, pre-potted peonies sold at your local garden centers, plant nurseries, even big box stores as well. So if you are planting your peonies from either a dormant bare root, pre-sprouted bare root, and that just simply means that the bare root is no longer dormant. It is no longer sleeping. It started active growth. You should plant your bare root or pre-sprouted bare root peonies sometime around October to the month of March. If you have purchased a more established, more mature peony plant, the one that already has lots of foliage, even closed flower buds, those mature plants can be planted anytime in the spring season. Now, if you are planting from a bare root or even a pre-sprouted bare root, please don't expect your peonies to produce flower buds and bloom the first year. Typically, the first year, your peony plant needs to establish its roots and to grow an abundant foliage. The first year after you planted your bare root peony, don't expect to see much foliage growth nor flower blooms. The first year, you can expect to see between 2 to 5 leaves, as well as maybe 1 to 2 flower blooms. Regardless of the variety, a peony plant will not be considered a mature plant until it's at least 3 to 4 years old. Peonies start to wake up from their dormancy phase sometime late winter, early spring. Why? Because they bloom late spring to early summer. Right over here is my more established mature peony plant. This happens to be an Ito hybrid peony. You could see the old wood that I cut last late fall. And here is the new growth. It is very easy to spot a peony plant late winter or early spring as it starts to wake up from the dormancy period. Why? Because it has very distinct colored foliage. When our peony plant, whether it's herbaceous or Ito, start to wake up from the dormancy period, you're going to start seeing these pink, red, or even magenta colored sprouts, which later on will turn to green coloring as the foliage starts to grow quicker. When I plant my peonies, whether it's from a bare root, whether it's from a pre-sprouted bare root, or even a pre-potted, established, mature plant, there are two rules, very important rules that I always follow. The first rule is location, location, and again, location. Peonies, herbaceous peonies, Ito peonies, require at least 6 hours of bright, direct sunlight. Yes, they will grow in part shade as well, but you're not going to get those blooms and that growth that you're looking to get. So again, I can't stress the location of your planting enough. 6+ hours of direct, bright sunlight if you want to get the lush growth and those big, fragrant blooms. The next very important step that I always follow when planting and growing peonies in my home garden is spacing, my fellow home gardeners. Peonies are very hardy perennial plants. With proper care, they will grow for over 20 years in your home gardens. They will get to be pretty tall and relatively wide as well. Regardless of the peony variety which you're planting and growing, average mature height will be about 36 inches or 3 feet. Mature width will be roughly 30 inches. So when planting peonies, and I'm sure many of us plant multiple peony varieties at once, make sure that you have at least 3-foot distance between each of your peony plants. Even if you're planting them from a bare root, make sure each bare root is planted 3 feet apart from the next peony. Right over here, I already have multiple established peony plants planted and growing. They are right over here. You could see the spacing, my fellow home gardeners. You could see that I left quite a lot of space between my two plants. Now, because peonies will get to be about 3 feet in established mature height, they will need your help with support in a form of a staking or hoops such as this one. Take a look, my fellow home gardeners. Each of my peony plants have these plastic ring supports on them, because as they start to wake up from dormancy, start to grow this foliage, and of course the blooms, they might get top heavy. You don't want them to plop over and to break. So if you are deciding to plant and grow peonies, make sure that you have those supports ready to go. Peonies will go dormant sometime in mid to late fall. You're going to see their leaves or their foliage start to brown, die back. That is when we usually prune or cut off all of the dead foliage. We add mulch or dry leaves to keep those bare roots nice, warm, and cozy for the winter season. For planting a peony from a bare root, do not plant that bare root deep. In fact, it should not be any deeper than 2 inches below the soil surface. Otherwise, the eyes will not have that energy, that strength to sprout. If your bare root has already pre-sprouted on you and you have all this beautiful new growth, make sure that you keep this growth above the soil level. Never bury this growth. Now, if you have it pre-potted, like so, in a container, you have two choices. You can either take out all the contents with the soil and plant it with this existing soil in your home garden, or you can separate the bare roots, remove all this excess soil, and pot it in your home garden, the soil of your home garden. You will need to amend the soil with either compost or manure. Peonies like moisture. However, the soil has to be well draining because peonies will not tolerate being waterlogged. So make sure that the location where you plant will have well draining soil. If you are planting your peony from a bare root, use a hand shovel to dig your digging hole. However, if you're planting a pre-sprouted peony or a more established mature peony, you will need a larger shovel. Right now I'm going to dig my planting hole and amend it with compost and manure. When you are ready to plant your peony, 2 facts which you must never ignore or forget: the location, as much sunlight as you can possibly get in your home garden, as well as spacing. If you feel like you don't have at least 30 to 36 inches of spacing, do not plant your peony plant there. Now let's dig the hole and let's amend it. I'm going to plant my peony, my pre-sprouted peony today, with the existing soil that came in this container. I don't feel like there's a need to take the root out of the soil and to stress out my plant. Peonies can live for 20 years or more. However, once you plant them, they're not big fans of being moved or relocated. So try to pick one spot for your peony plant where it will thrive and grow for many years to come. If I would have separated my bare root and decided to take it out of the soil, I would only need to make a small hole about 2 inches deep. And that is if you live in colder zones or colder climates. If you live in warmer climates, then you should only plant your peony bare roots no more than 1 inch below the soil surface. Why? Because you want to allow your peony bare roots to be exposed and to feel those colder winter temperatures. Perennials need certain amount of days, weeks, months of those colder temperatures to stay dormant and to wake up and grow and bloom for us again in the spring and summer seasons. Now that I have my planting hole all ready to go, I'm going to once again amend my planting hole with compost and manure. And don't be shy, guys. Be generous. Your peony plant will definitely thank you and reward you. Like so. Now I'm going to take it out of this container. Let's take a look at the root system. Look how massive this root system is. It definitely started to overgrow this tiny little small container, which is exactly why I always recommend that you plant and grow your peonies in the soil of your home garden versus any containers. Will peonies grow in containers? Yes, but not as well as they can grow in the soil of your home gardens. Now that we have planted our peony, let's talk about some care instructions for the growing season and for the entire year. How often should you water your peony plant? Peonies like to be thoroughly watered about once per week, rather than little bits of watering every single day. However, if you are having a drought or a very dry spring, summer, and fall seasons, then you should definitely check on that moisture content in your soil and water more frequently. But the rule of thumb is about once per week. Next very important aspect to talk about is fertilizing. When should you fertilize your peonies and with what kind of fertilizer? You want to fertilize your peony plants in the spring, early spring, with an organic, granular, slow release fertilizer. What kind of fertilizer doesn't matter as long as it's granular, slow release fertilizer. Why? Because early spring is when our peonies start to wake up from the dormancy period, start to produce those burgundy or pink buds, and to start put on that foliage. So this is when we want to give them that little kick, that little boost, so they can have maximal growing success. I like to use Aspoma organic fertilizers to fertilize the plants as well as the crops in my home garden. You can use any other organic fertilizer that you can get your hands on. So how do you fertilize? You add the fertilizer around the base of the root system like this, in a circular motion, like so. And then you either thoroughly water the fertilizer in, or if you know that you're expecting rain in the next day or two, you can leave that job to Mother Nature. I fertilize all of my peonies, whether they're newly planted or established plants, in the early spring seasons. How do you care for peonies in the summer once they are in full lush bloom? Once you see the bloom is spent and done blooming, always use pruning shears to cut those spent blooms off. You want to send the energy back to the root, to the mother plant, so she can spend that energy on forming new buds and new blooms. One very important aspect I want to cover when it comes to growing and caring for peonies, especially during the summer season. If you have come up to your peony plant, as you're trimming off those spent blooms, if you notice any stem turning brown or black color, that is a possible indication of a fungal disease. You want to cut off, remove any stem that looks discolored, especially if it looks black or dark brown coloring. Never ever compost those. Always discard of those accordingly, because if you do compost those, you are risking spreading the fungal disease. Now, this is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today in my home garden in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. In today's video, we spoke about how to correctly plant peonies, herbaceous peonies, Ito peonies. Now, in the spring, we also covered how to correctly plant them, how to care for them, as well as all the maintenance tips and tricks for the entire growing year. If you have enjoyed the content of today's video, if you found today's video to be useful, helpful, informative, in absolutely any way, don't be shy, guys. Super easy for you, super pleasing and rewarding to me. Show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments in the comment section as well. I personally read each and every single one of your comments and respond to each and every single one of you. Let me know, do you have peonies growing in your home garden? What kind of peonies varieties do you plant and grow in your home garden? Share some pictures with me, my fellow home gardeners. I love to communicate with each and every single one of you. Stay healthy, happy, be well, guys. If you haven't yet subscribed to my gardening channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, what are you waiting for? Super easy for you to do, super pleasing and rewarding to me. Just go below this video and click the subscribe button. If you want YouTube to send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new gardening video, don't forget to click the bell icon as well. And happy gardening, my fellow home gardeners, and I'll see you again in my new upcoming gardening videos. Bye, guys.